Hey, thanks so much for jumping in. It's Leanne Hughes. What I want to talk about today is the not to-do list, your not to-do list. I love doing this activity. I have to credit Tim Ferris for this. It is such a good one to do at the beginning of a year, or even like to wrap up the year before, but it takes really no time at all. You just need your calendar with you. So grab your laptop, or if you use something physical, just grab that, grab a coffee and sit aside for 20 minutes. And go to January 1st of the year before, 2024, if that's when you're listening to this. Go through every month, but have just a piece of paper beside you and draw 2 columns. And on the left have, yes, love this lit me up. On the right have, no, do not do this again. Like if you had, and really the criteria is, as you're looking through every week or every month of the year, you look at what calendar and invites and appointments you had in there, and you make a decision on, if I was given this opportunity again, like, did this light me up? Did I love it? Would I say yes to this again? Write that down on the left side. And if it didn't light you up, if you hated it, if you were given a second chance and were like invited to go to that meeting or appointment again, would you go? And your answer is no, then you pop it on the right side, the no side. I would not do this again. Now, I've gone through this exercise a couple of times, like probably the last 3 years. What I found most interesting this year was reflecting on last year's and going, wow, there's actually not a lot that I'd put into the no column. When I first kicked this off, again, 3 years ago, my no column, there were so many things in it. This year, as I reflect on last year, it's extremely lean. What I discovered that I had was actually a ton more on the left-hand side. So that was really nice. It was a really nice observation. And there were some interesting things in terms of growth that, I'd done actually a bit of in-person one-to-one coaching, helping with leaders on their communication skills. And I didn't think I really was a good one-to-one coach or that I enjoyed it, but I found those sessions extremely rewarding. And I think it's because I was working with people that actually wanted to learn and improve and were interested, and we saw progress. So I think that's why I enjoyed it. They just came prepared. We were working on something that was real and tangible. And like I said, you could see the improvements over time. And so that felt really rewarding. Whereas maybe I had a weird association with one-on-one coaching, or feeling like it created some codependence, or I don't know, that was an interesting insight. So yeah, I'm curious to see, let me know how you go with this exercise, what is a massive no for you. What I did pick up this year is that something I started to do probably in the last few months is that if I notice something, let's just say I was running a big 2-day workshop, or even a 1-day workshop. So that would be my calendar. Let's just say it's on a Wednesday from 8 till 4. Obviously that's in my calendar. The day before that, I actually just block out. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to take anything on, but just means at default, do not let anyone grab that unintentionally. Not let that open, just because I like having this that day before. Kind of, it's a bit of a luxury just to be able to pack everything, really get into the head game of what you're about to do. And then half a day, like the day after, I also block out. So the morning of, just so I can maybe catch up on the run that I didn't do that day that I was delivering a workshop, or spend time with my family and go for a proper dog walk, ease into it. So my default is, let's just say I've got something on, I'll book out the day before and then half a day after. If I'm traveling, I might extend that, because it means I might have to catch up on some things that I didn't have a chance to do while I was physically away. And just traveling can take it out of you. So you might need a bit more recovery time. So yeah, I call that kind of commute/recovery time in my calendar. And that was a really good thing that I started to incorporate this year. What I've done in the last 2 years, thanks to Jenny Blake for this tip, is just book out Monday, or just book it out. And I call it Make It Happen Monday. Again, it's a recurring invite with myself on Monday, 7 a.m. it hits. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to have meetings or do things or work with clients or travel on a Monday. What it just means is that I've got to then think about, is this worth having this meeting on this day, or do I want a completely deep work time? And what I find is sometimes, even if I've got one 30-minute meeting on at 3 p.m. on a Monday, it can still kind of jolt me out of deep work mode. And of course, I'll let that happen when I have to, when I need to be responsive to clients and the world. But if I can just move it to a Tuesday morning, I would rather do that than take it on the Monday. I guess there's a really weird misconception out there that I think a lot of people think that I'm really busy, and maybe it's because I like to put out a lot of stuff. Well, I'm podcasting on the daily this year, but it's actually just being a bit smart around how I like to work, and knowing that I'm doing this half marathon. I really want to get into strength training and the stretching and all of that. Even being aware of when to have meetings like with the US. I do Talk the Walk with Alan Weiss. That's a 6:30/7 a.m. start for me in the morning. I typically won't go for a run or do anything before that. That means that's basically a day off of running. I plan accordingly. I'll put in my diary when I'm going to exercise that week and make amendments. I do love working with the US time zone though, honestly, because anyone in North America, South America, I'm just on fire in the morning. Less on fire when I work with Europe. And what I discovered doing this exercise is like anytime there's a meeting after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I feel like I'm back in primary school. I just like kind of clock off at 3 p.m. I'm just not that good, or I just am so wired up about it all day thinking about it that I kind of waste the day. Where I can, like if I can minimize that, or even have, if I know I've got like a 3 o'clock meeting with someone in Europe, I'll put a 4 o'clock in there, a 5 o'clock, and just stack it on that day. At least my head is in the game. And I can do like a split shift that day if I need to. What I did that I kind of stopped doing was I had 30 to 50 calf raises in my calendar, in my actual Google Calendar, just as a task to remind me to do that every day. And that disappeared after my marathon. And then I stopped doing it. I definitely live by the calendar. So I've got to put in the tasks that I want to do. I've got to put in the calendar when I sign up for some software and I want to cancel it at the end of the month, either cancel it immediately or do the trial and have like in red reminders, cancel the tool, cancel that tool out. I just need it in there as a reminder. There were some really cool things in there that I didn't realize I did in 2024 that are a reminder to bring into 2025. One is I booked a personal stylist, and the stuff that she said to me, went shopping for a few hours and got some cool clothes and everything else, but it was more like the lessons of what she taught me that then helped me shop in future. But I should just keep doing that like once a year. Her name's Kate. She's wonderful. I'll book her in again just to get that refresh. I think an annual refresh is good. Plus before I go to Asia, I might even get one over there as well. A photo shoot. I'm booking that in the calendar. I've booked in with Kate from The Latest. So she's fantastic. Highlights of, as I was looking through my calendar, definitely the red carpet experience, running many of those last year in person and virtually. Favorite thing to do. Having that corporate box at the cricket and meeting Justin Langan was a real highlight. I'm going to bring that. Well, we're running corporate box coaching on the 31st of January this year, which is great. So if you're keen on that, come along. It was nice to see that the mix and balance of activities. And while it kind of felt like a slog last year, that I was always like this is why my office was in such a disarray. I was just like kind of not sorting through things. I didn't have that kind of time out. But I was looking through my calendar, like, yeah, I was like, there's a lot of delivery and there, a lot of client delivery. And so I think just factoring that recovery time will get me through. I was talking to my friend Tim Guinea around this. I said to him, have you ever been burnt out? He definitely thought for a while and he's like, no, I don't think I have. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I've been burnt out either. I think I can catch myself just before I face a capital B burnout. And that's why I sort of joke around emergency massages. But what I think the difference is this year is factoring that recovery time on the back of, it's having Mondays just carved out as default, carving out recovery time in and around front of stage activities, front of house activities like speaking, workshopping, that type of thing. And also with my physical routine, running less, but also building more strength, more flexibility, and more stretching in as a habit, I think will improve that even more. Travel definitely can be tough. I haven't hacked around like jet lag or anything like that. I kind of, definitely don't talk to me for advice around that. Sometimes I'll just live off 3 or 4 hours sleep for a week when I'm out like in another time zone. That's why having those recovery periods sort of set in as default in my calendar around that is really helpful. Really interesting to see how that's come along this year. Hopefully I can continue keeping those boundaries that have worked for me in previous years in terms of saying no. I do have my list back from 2 or 3 years ago of like things not to do. It's kind of like habit now in terms of just saying no to those things when they do cross my path. The key to this is also really being intentional around what you want to achieve. And so for 2025, for me, it's like around speaking, daily podcasting, really elevating and getting a book out. And I was talking to my friend Steph Clark around like, I just haven't landed on the book concept yet. I'm blogging more about my book on leannesnextbook.com. I'm talking more about it than I'm actually doing it. And I just need to decide. And she's like, well, through your daily podcasting, maybe there's going to be some themes that come through. And I think she's right. And I think often I share that clarity is overrated, and we're like, oh, I can't take action until I have clarity. I could start writing about stuff. I'm talking about stuff. And as a result, there may be some things that I'm excited about that I'm sharing with you that I think, oh, that could be a book. There may be some things that resonate with you more and you reach out to me and I'm like, oh, there's a market in that. Maybe I'll write about that. And so that's how I sort of consolidate that. But I think being very clear and doing this activity, carving out your not to do list at the beginning of the year is a really great way to do that, and setting and getting your recurring appointments in first. The other thing, this is a reminder, I said I wanted to go to Egypt. Chris and I need to just book that out in the calendar now, because it would be awful if I'm like these gigs keep coming through and I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do that. And then I'm like, oh, where's the 3 weeks in my calendar now for us to go to Egypt, right? So that has to be carved out. That's something I'm going to do as soon as I finish recording this episode. And thank you so much for being here.